How's it going, everybody? This is Delonte, aka 2K, and this is Chillin with 2K. In honor of Batman v Superman coming out here in the next couple of weeks, I figured I'd do a review of none other than Man of Steel. Um, I know a lot of people. This movie is you either hate it or you love it. I love it. I'm a huge Superman fan, and coming off of Superman Returns, I think Man of Steel was a fantastic retelling of the Superman story. Um, with that being said, a lot of people have their gripes about it. They say that this isn't, who Superman is. This isn't the proper story of Superman, or it wasn't told in the proper way. Um, we'll get into some more of that later on in this video, but I just want to, just go through and from top to bottom talk about this film and the things I liked about it and things I didn't like about it. So I'm gonna start from the top. Um, first off the bat, you get Krypton. I love Krypton in this film. It is absolutely amazing, from the character design to the costumes to the creatures to the planet itself, and how all of the architecture in the planet is incorporated into or all the architecture is incorporated into the planet itself. It's just absolutely fantastic, the way they created Krypton. Don't get me wrong, the Dick Donner version of Krypton is great, but I really love this, and to be honest, I would love to see more from just Krypton itself. There was some talk going on a little while back about them starting a Krypton TV show, and I don't know what happened with that. I haven't heard anything about it. I think it kind of fell through, but I really do kind of hope that something comes out of that, because wow, I'd absolutely love to see something more just from Krypton by itself. Russell Crowe as Jor-El is fantastic. I loved how they kind of made Jor-El a badass, and how he kind of beat down on Zod a little bit, which was really cool. Michael Shannon as Zod is fantastic as well. You really feel his performance and feel his motivation. That's what they always say, is that a good villain believes that they are doing the right thing, and I feel like in this film, Zod really feels like he is doing what's best for his people, and that's I can really kind of get behind that. Not necessarily what he's doing, but I can get behind the reasons why he's doing it, which is why I think Zod is a particularly great villain for this film. So coming off of Krypton, we go down to Earth, and you see Clark has gone off on his own trying to find who he is, who his parents are, and where he's come from. Yeah, I love the way they kind of go through the flashbacks of him learning his powers and figuring out what's going on with him, and how his mother and his father kind of played a big part in his life in terms of making sure that he understands that no matter where he's from, human or not, it's his decision to become who he wants to be. It's just that in his particular case, who he chooses to be is going to change the world in a way, be it good or bad. So I think they did a great job of showing how his parents are teaching him this decision that he's going to have to make, and the choices that he's going to have to make. It's not necessarily you have to do the right thing all the time. It's you have to think about what you're doing before you do it. And I think that's the difference. Starting there, I think, is really the big difference in the Superman that we all know and love as being, truth, justice, and the American way, and this Zack Snyder's depiction of Superman. It's not necessarily about doing the right thing all the time. It's more about thinking about the decisions that you're about to make and how it's going to affect everyone as a whole, whether it be the right decision or the wrong decision, or it be good in someone's eyes and bad in someone else's eyes. It's the right decision for the planet as a whole. And I think that's the main difference, and I think that's part of the part that a lot of people don't understand, is that's what this iteration of Superman really is, in my opinion. But I love the way that they showed his parents, teaching him that path, and teaching him that that's what he's gonna have to do as he grows older. And you see him going through, he saves an oil rig, he saves it just from big to small. He saves the oil rig, he saves the waitress in the diner, um, and vents his anger a little bit too with everything that's going on. But eventually, he finally does end up finding out who he is and meeting, Jor-El, who is his biological father. And in the process, ends up meeting Lois Lane too. And I do like the moxie of Lois Lane. I like that because she reminds me of the Lois from Smallville. If you guys don't know, I'm a huge Smallville fan. I own every season except for season 9. But I'm a massive Smallville fan. So I may tend to reference Smallville every now and again, even though some people say it's not the greatest show. I think it's great. I love it. It has its good and it has its bad, but that's a whole nother story. That's another video. But I love the moxie because it reminded me of Smallville's Lois, and she was a very strong portrayal in that show, and it shows here that she is also a very strong woman in this film as well, which I really do like. But like I said, that's how they end up meeting each other. When he ends up finding out who he is, he also stumbles into Lois Lane, and they end up meeting and starting their relationship. I kind of, I'm not sure about the believability of their relationship. I kind of feel as though it felt really rushed. And I mean, I know you have to tell a lot of story in, a couple of hours, 2.5 hours or so is how long this movie is. And I mean, you gotta cram a lot into that. So I can understand how it can seem, rushed going into it. But I also kind of, I like their chemistry. I like their dynamic. I just don't necessarily believe that they fell for each other as quickly as they did. It is kind of hard to believe that just over the course of time. But as far as, how they are together, I do like that. And I am looking forward to seeing how that grows in Batman v Superman. So I like, how Lois and Clark ended up meeting and how it was all incorporated. So let's talk a little bit about the fighting and the fight scenes, primarily the damage. A lot of people have talked about how this film showed so much damage done to the city, and Superman would never, cause that much damage. When you think about it, when you go back to like Iron Man or the Avengers or any of the Marvel movies, there's a lot of damage in those movies too. But no one complains about that. So that's kind of what gets me is, why would you complain? Excuse me. Why would you complain just because it's Superman about all the damage? But I mean, no superhero was going into the situation trying to damage the city that they grew up in or the city that they live in. No one's trying to create all of this damage. It's just that the person that it's kind of unavoidable. The person that they're fighting could care less. So at that point, when they're throwing you into buildings, I mean, and everything is in close proximity, so you throw them back, and especially since he's just starting out, this is Superman's beginnings. So he's not quite the Superman that we all know and love, Truth, Justice, and American Way. He's got a long ways to go before he gets there. But he does believe in doing what is right and what is necessary for the betterment of mankind. So when it comes to all of the damage, it's just, that's kind of what's going to happen. You can't really avoid that. So, and in every superhero movie, in every Marvel movie, in every DC movie, there's been some serious damage to the cities. Every time. Always. Always. That's just part of the game. That's just what comes with it. And I like the fact that there was damage done because it made it feel more realistic. This whole new iteration of Superman just feels more real to me. You know, if he came straight out the gate talking about truth, justice, and American way, I couldn't believe that. I wouldn't believe it. I'm like, man, who comes out thinking like that right off the bat? Nobody does. You know, it's going to take them some time to really build those values. And for me, I feel like I can relate to him more. Cause like, okay, this guy, he does make mistakes. You know, he does damage some things. You know, he doesn't always do, what's necessarily the right thing, but he does what he has to do to save the people that he cares about. And that is, to me, more human than anything. So I feel like that is, really great. That it's a really great telling of Superman and how he really is coming up, and it adds more to the realism and the relatability, rather, is the word I'm looking for, to who Superman is. So like I said, with all the damage and everything, that's kind of a given. It's gonna happen. As far as him killing, spoiler alert if you haven't seen the movie. If you haven't seen the movie by now, shame on you. Batman v Superman is getting ready to come out, and you need to see Man of Steel before you see Batman v Superman. It's just that simple. But anyway, with him, as far as him killing Zod, I kind of thought the same thing when I first saw it. I'm like, oh wow, Superman kills. That is kind of, a little bit of something that I'm like, okay, they're pushing the line there as far as who Superman is. But I understand it because, like I said, this is the beginnings of Superman. He is still in the mindset of doing what is necessary to save the people that he cares about. He's not 100% truth, justice, and American way yet. Not yet. He's going to get there. I believe that. He's just not there yet. This is still his beginnings. So when it comes to him killing Zod, it's like going back to what his parents were teaching him. It's not so much, what's good and what the right thing to do is. It is, what do you need to do that's going to be for the better of the people? And in this particular case, Zod said it himself, the only way you're going to end this is if I die or you do. So, at that moment, it was, I'm pretty sure every scenario went through his head as he was sitting there yelling stop to him. He's like, I could fly out of here, get him out of here, and, beat him down somewhere else and beat him down to a pulp to where he's unconscious. But at the same time, Zod is also more, he's a soldier, so he knows more. He knows more about combat than I do. So he may kick my butt when I get out of here. I don't know. The best option for me to take right now and to end this now is to end him. And in that moment, that was the best option in order to save everyone that he loves and everyone that he cares about, and to save the planet that he loves. It's not a matter of him doing the right thing. It's doing what was necessary in that time. And I think that's a very human trait that he has, because what human is going to always do what's right? And granted, yes, I know Superman is supposed to be the example. He's not supposed to be like every other human, but I feel like I said before, it makes him more relatable. So I think that him killing Zod was very justified. I think it does fit his character, this character as of right now that they are trying to portray. I do feel like he's going to become Superman as we all know him, truth, justice, and the American way, as the time goes on. But Man of Steel is just his beginnings. It's just him starting out. So you can't, expect him to be that guy right off the bat. You just can't. This is an origin story. You're watching him grow as Superman. We're all getting this opportunity to watch him. So I think it's a really great thing. And I think the situation of him killing was necessary for that moment in time. So those are my thoughts on Man of Steel. Now I would like to hear what you guys think. Comment down below. Tell me what you think about this video. Tell me what you think about Man of Steel itself. I kind of know the public consensus about it, but I would still like to know what you guys' thoughts are regarding this film. Like I said, let's start a conversation. The whole point of of me being here and doing these videos is so that to start a conversation with you. So please, if you like this video, like it, subscribe to the channel if you'd like to, but most importantly of anything, comment down below so we can start a conversation. You can also find me on Twitter at @D_Tyrell. Find me there, talk to me there, let's start a conversation there. I'm all about conversations. So that's the whole purpose of me doing this. So thanks for chilling with me, guys, and we'll see you next time.